class.
Thank you so much for being here today. Happy almost Halloween. I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite holidays. And just before class started, I was talking with Kelly about how my kids said one of their friends said their mom was too old to dress up for Halloween. I said, no. You're never too old to dress up for Halloween. So I'm very much looking forward to the holiday. So thanks again for being here. I know we're all busy and you all have things going on in your life. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out with me today while we make a really fun, spooky Halloween cake. So just a tiny little brief intro. My name is Megan Faulkner Brown. I'm the founder of the Sweet Tooth Fairy. You might have seen some of these products at your local Michael's store, which is so fun. Before we had products in Michael's, I actually started a retail bakery here in Utah. That's where I'm broadcasting from today. And we have 5 locations here in the state. And so I've spent lots of years in a retail bakery going in every morning and baking all the treats and decorating all the cakes and doing all the things. So it's an actual dream come true to be able to not only be here with you, with my fellow home bakers, my fellow hobbyists, but also to be able to innovate and design some of these products that I think baking and decorating and creating at home, it just makes it a little fun and elevated. And it's really neat to come up with sprinkle designs and just all the things. So again, thank you. And let's get to our cake decorating. So for those of you who have been with me during some of my other cake classes, I will be kind of repeating just some of the basic steps as far as assembling a cake goes, just for our fellow friends who maybe this is their first time, but hopefully you'll still be able to get some tips and tricks that I maybe haven't mentioned otherwise. So a couple things that I wanted to first start off with are baking cakes. So here you can see I have these are 6-inch round cakes, and I have them wrapped in cling wrap. And one of the things that I swear by is baking your cakes ahead of time, so that when you, baking them ahead of time and freezing them. And there's a couple reasons. One, because I feel like from start to finish, when you're making a cake and letting it cool and then decorating and all of that, that takes a long time, right? Cakes are a labor of love, as we all know. So if you can kind of break up the steps throughout days, then I personally think that that's something that is super helpful. So you can bake your cakes ahead of time, let them cool completely, let them come to room temperature, and then level them off. You can see these are nice and flat. And then once they're completely cooled, you can wrap them in like this saran wrap. You can put them in like a Ziploc bag, or even in like a tight Tupperware container. As long as they're airtight, then they will do wonderfully in the freezer. And they can stay in there for weeks, honestly, as long as they are airtight. And that is so that your cakes don't get exposed to the other things that might be in your freezer, like frozen meatballs or something. I don't know. You just don't want the smell of the whatever's in there to absorb into the cake. And also just for food safety, it keeps it nice and sealed off. The other thing is that let me see, have you ever been working with a cake and it's so like fresh and soft, and then it kind of starts to kind of like wiggle a little bit and it maybe breaks off a little bit? I've done that lots of times, which is why I love this, this technique, because when the cakes are frozen, you can handle them so much better and they're not gonna really break off. There's so much more structural integrity to the cake. So that's my spiel about baking your cakes ahead of time and just letting them freeze, and I promise you it'll be life-changing. Other thing, like if you have a business that you're running out of your home and you're baking like all the cakes, one other thing is just you can take like your permanent marker and write the flavor, the date, when you made it. So then you can have like an easy system of like using the first one. FIFO, we call it first in, first out. So, okay, next, prepping. So this is a turntable, a cake turner. And I just have like this cardboard cake round. And one of the things that I like to do if I don't have like a non-slip kind of grip material is just take a few pieces of tape and just put it right onto the little cardboard cake round. And this is so that as you're frosting your cake and doing the crumb coat and doing all these things, your cake isn't going to be like moving around all over the place. All right. So next what we're going to do, I'm just going to take these cake rounds and I'm going to start layering them. And here I have some spooky Halloweeny frosting. And I'm essentially making a glue dot, an edible glue dot right here with the frosting. And I'm just going to set the cake on it. And again, like literally think of it like glue. So again, I'm pushing it. It's not really going to move. Now, one thing that is, I don't know, I think is kind of fun. Here I'm using some of the Sweet Tooth Fairy frosting that you can just get at Michael's. One thing that I like to do with my fillings, like I'll use just straight up frosting for a filling. I know sometimes you can use jam or pudding or mousse. There's so many different things that you can do for a cake filling. But when I do use frosting, I sometimes like to fold in candy, sprinkles. Sometimes I'll cut up like little chunks of chocolate chip cookies, or I'll put straight up chocolate chips in there. Just something to kind of add just a little bit of fun, a little bit of surprise when people, cut into it. So I'm just going to take, these are just some orange jimmies. And again, these are available at Michael's. And I'm going to take some orange and some black. A few here. And I'll add a little bit of green too. Why not? That one's not open and I only have one hand. Oh, please. I'll add a few of the little nonpareils. Okay, so I just added those straight in. And then I'm just going to stir. So now you have, it's frosting, but you have a filling that has a little bit of texture to it. And it coordinates with the theme of the cake. It matches rather. Okay, so now all I'm doing is I'm taking this offset spatula and I'm just spreading the filling across. One thing to know, as I had mentioned earlier about like different kinds of fillings, I'll show you on this next tier. If you do use a filling that is softer, or like a jelly, or even like a whipped cream, you're gonna want to, I'm gonna add this next layer. You're gonna wanna take some buttercream frosting and at least create like a little bit of a dam around the outside. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just taking, this is just white frosting. And all I'm going to do is essentially just trace around the outside edge of this cake round. So imagine if I had a lemon curd or a raspberry jelly or a cherry compote or something that will squish and squeeze and make your cake jiggly. When you do this and you use a buttercream frosting to kind of make that outer ring, it essentially just holds all of that stuff within this little exposed part of the cake. So today we don't have any of those things, but I just wanted to show you that if you do, there's a way to make it so that your cake will stay, it'll stay standing and it won't be like super, super jiggly, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep adding this frosting. And then I will do the same thing that I did. Just kind of spread it around. The other tip that this kind of technique is good for is if you're doing, let's say, this happens often. We get people who want a chocolate wedding cake and they want it just completely white and completely smooth on the outside. Well, if it's hard if you have a chocolate filling to not get chocolate exposed on the outside of the cake. So we'll do this a lot where we will create that circle out of like a white frosting, do a chocolate filling, so that then when you're frosting it on the outside, you're not getting chocolate frosting that's bleeding into your white frosting, because then that just makes getting a smooth exterior that's completely white super tricky. So learn from all my trials and errors, friends. Okay, so now I'm going to put this last here on. And I'm just going to kind of give it a little press down like so. Okay. So I could, you know what, just for fun, since I have this frosting here, I'm going to use it for part of the crumb coat. Although the cake that, the TV Magic that you're about to see, the cake does not have this same frosting on the outside. So, but now all I'm doing is taking the rest of this frosting. I'll probably have to use a little bit of this other white frosting, and I'm doing what's called a crumb coat. And what a crumb coat is, it's basically just a really, really scrappy layer of frosting that does exactly what what the name suggests. It provides a layer that traps in the crumbs, so that when you come back with, you know, another layer of frosting, you're not really going to get a bunch of the crumbs that come off. So here, let me add some of this white because I ran out of my purple. So I don't know if you can see that well, but some of the crumbs are peeling off, and that's great. You want that to happen because after this, we put it in the fridge or the freezer and we let it set up so that it's dry, like to touch. My bowl. It's okay. Do this. And then you can add your other layer or layers of frosting as you see fit. This kind of crumb coat is also, it's like if you guys have heard the term like sheer or naked cake, that look where it's not super finished. That's ultimately what this is. It's not supposed to look perfect. It's just kind of supposed to look no real way other than trapping in those crumbs. So you can, yeah, I hope you can see how there's some crumbs that are exposed. And again, that's totally fine because once it sets up in the freezer and is dry to touch, then we come back with another layer of frosting and the crumbs won't peel off. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, at this point, do we have any questions? Because we're about to do a little like swap-a-roo little bit of TV magic, and you'll see this white cake that's been crumb coated. And it's going to look different than this one because for obvious reasons. We good?
We have a couple questions, Megan.
Yeah. Yes.
One, sorry. With the
Oh,
one jar of frosting you just used, how many layers can you frost with that?
Oh, that's such a hard question to answer just because it depends on like the cake size, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
For example, that's a 6-inch cake with 3 layers of cake. And had we used like a different filling, then we for sure could have covered that whole cake on the outside, if that makes sense. I would say to be safe, that it would, which I think the most standard size is like an 8-inch 2-layer cake, and it will for sure do that, for sure.
Okay, awesome.
So hopefully that's helpful. Yeah. Is there another one? Or that?
I think that we're covering everything else in the chat, so that's great.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Okay, so next. So I kind of wanted to show just how you can see how you can kind of see the exposed cake still. So this is still technically considered like your crumb coat. This looks way prettier than the one I just used with the purple frosting that had the sprinkles in it. But I'm going to show you now just how you can frost the exterior of your cake and just show you a couple different things that you can do to give it some intrigue and interest. And you don't really have to have any special tools in particular. Okay. Oops. So I'm going to take some frosting and I'm just going to gently coat the outside. I'm not doing anything super special or technique-y. I'm just spreading it with this icing spatula. You can see it doesn't look uniform or clean or crisp at this point, which is okay. Kind of just want to get it on there. And then we can go from there as far as giving it some different looks. So let's see. All right. So see, it's kind of scrappy again. Put some on the top. Now, if you're just going for like a smooth finish, you can take a bench scraper or anything that you have that has like a crisp flat edge like that. And all you have to do is hold. I like to teach people to hold your hand that has your tool in it steady, and then you let the cake turner kind of do the majority of the work, right? So you see how I just kept my hand in one spot and then I let the cake turner do its thing. So you'll see it's not like perfectly smooth, and that's where you can go back and just add a little bit of frosting here if you need a little bit more, and then we'll just repeat that step of getting it smooth. See how that works. Turntable can be your very best friend. Okay, so that's just if you want kind of something smooth. If you want to add a little bit of like texture to it, I just put a little bit more frosting. Well, let me rewind. I'm going to add a drip. And so I know that the top isn't top notch at the moment, but I'm going to be covering it up. So it doesn't necessarily have to be perfectly smooth, if that makes sense. Okay. If you wanted to just add like a little bit of texture, you can just take some more of the frosting, and then you can kind of just, sometimes I'll do like little S's or little swirls. I just kind of call it like a messy look. So there's no technical, technical way of doing a messy look, right? You kind of just take your spatula and just move it all around. So you can also just take your spatula and go up, and you'll see it'll create vertical lines. They're not going to be perfect, but it just gives it like such a different look, right? Kind of fun, kind of pretty. And similarly, here, let's smooth it out for just a sec, because I'll show you how to do it with horizontal stripes as well. I'm just kind of smoothing it out so the stripes don't have as much opposition, if you will, while I do it. So you can do this technique with like a spoon, with a spatula, the knife, anything. And you're going to notice I'm going to keep my hand steady, and I'm going to turn the turntable and let it do its thing. So all I'm doing, holding my hand steady and slightly going, like moving my hand slightly up as I turn the cake turner. And it just creates this really cute, kind of ruffly horizontal stripe situation. And then if you need to, you can kind of pull some of that frosting on the top. So cute and simple. And I promise something that you all could totally pull off. So, okay, I am going to smooth this cake out though, just for today. And we're going to give it a drip. We're going to add some fun embellishments. We're going to make some decorations out of the meltables, and then we're going to use some of these really fun sprinkles to decorate. Okay. So I'm going to take my scraper and just do what I did from the get-go, which is just kind of smooth it out. And again, I'm adding a drip so the top can kind of look however.
Hey, Megan, just some comments from the comment section. People are loving this cake. It's very pretty.
Oh, good.
Very fun to watch you do this. We have a question from Ava, actually.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this for?
Oh, my word. From the time I was like 8, probably, just for fun, I was doing it from that time. I grew up, pretty much feel like I grew up in the kitchen. I'm one of 5 kids and I'm the youngest. And I think by the time my mom got to me, she was way more chill and didn't care that I was in there, helping and trying to learn all of the things. So honestly, it's just something that I have loved to do from the time I was a little girl. And it kind of has just followed me throughout my whole life, whether it was the bakery I worked at in high school or my jobs in college. It's just always something that I feel like was so fun for me to do and express myself. So, but professionally, even though I don't really consider myself a professional, kind of like, I'm kind of a poser. I didn't go to any like fancy culinary school. I like to say I was homeschooled when it comes to all of this stuff, but professionally, we opened, I officially opened the Sweet Tooth Fairy in 2006. I was just doing it out of my house. And then we opened our first bakery 3 years later. So it's been, like, let me do the math. It's been a minute. It's been like 15 years. So anyway, that's a fun question. Yeah. Okay, anyone else at the moment? Okay, just interrupt me if you do. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, this is cake drip, and this is again available at Michael's and that in the baking section. And all I'm gonna do is I took the lid off and I'm gonna put it in the microwave, and I'm just gonna let it heat up just a little bit. I'm putting it in there for about 20, well, I'm gonna put it in for about 15 seconds at first. And you're going to see how simple it is to add that really cool drippy look. And this we have it in a whole, and basically in the rainbow. So any color you're looking for your cake drip, you should be able to find on the shelves. I'm just giving it like a little bit of a shake, and I'm going to put it in for just a few more seconds. And we will go from there. All right. Okay. So do you want to zoom in so they can see how fun? Yeah. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm just lightly squeezing. And I'm just kind of going over, doing the edges first. We have used this bottle before, so there's a little bit of it gone. So I just want to make sure that if anything, we get the edges, and then I'll fill in the top. But honestly, all you do is you just wiggle it over the edge of your cake. And if you want there to be like a longer drip, then you just hold it over the spot you want a longer drip for a little bit longer. You can keep adding a little bit of pressure. But if you want a small one, you just do a little, just a little blurb. So yeah, so fun, so simple. So you have the other thing that hopefully gives you a little bit of hope when making cakes. There's always a front and a back to a cake. So choose whichever front you think looks the best, and then just kind of go from there as far as decorating goes. So I'm gonna, let's see. I kind of like when there's a little bit of variety, and there's some open space here, and I'll use that to kind of fill in with some of these candies and sprinkles. So I'm going to use that as my front, but so you guys can watch all as awkwardly, but as best as I can. We'll try to come from there and decorate without me having it facing me, because I want you guys to be able to see. Matt, do you mind putting this in the fridge? And I'm going to show them how to make some little decorations out of the meltables. Thank you. Okay, so next we are going to use some of these meltables. These are so great. These are like a confectionery coating, candy coating, and they look like this out of the bag, and they're so yummy. They're like a compound chocolate, so you don't have to be a full-blown chocolatier to be able to use them, which works out wonderfully for me. And they just have like, they're so great. You'll see, we'll melt them here in the microwave, and they set up and they come back to this state, which is this really nice, snappy I don't know why I use the word snap, but it just has this nice snap to it, and it sets up solid and hard again. So you'll see it'll be like liquid, and then we'll let it dry, and then they'll set up hard. So we're going to make just some little ghosts out of the Meltables, and these are they're just the best. Oops. The thing that's awesome about them also is, like, if you don't use all of them for your project, you just let them get solid again, and you can just throw them back in the bag or in a Ziploc, and then you can use them, you can remelt them, and it's so great. Okay, so I'm gonna just put them in for about 15 seconds because there's so few of them in that pastry bag. I'm just gonna give it about 15 seconds. You'll see I'll kind of massage the bag, and then I'll put them back in for a little bit longer. So they started to melt a little bit. And I just kind of massage them. I always advise people to kind of err on the side of microwaving them for fewer seconds initially, because you don't want to overheat them. And because what will happen is they'll seize up, and there might even be like a little burn spot, which I'm sure if you're familiar with any kind of like candy coating, you know that, I mean, again, this has happened to me so many times. So I just like to, again, err on the side of slow rolling into melting them. So that was about 30 seconds is all. And you can see it's like completely melted. And that's perfect. So next, what I'm going to do, this is just a disposable pastry bag, and I'm just going to cut the tip of it about a quarter of an inch. So think of it kind of like a writing utensil. And I'm gonna, I don't want to block the view. So I'm just going to freehand some little ghosts. So we got just a little guy. And do a bigger one. So all I'm doing at this point is applying kind of like equal amounts of pressure, just a little bit, squeezing as I'm putting these out. And go like this. Sometimes I'll even just like take the and pat it, and you can see how it smooths them out. Another technique for ghosts, you can kind of just do like a blob, and you can take a paintbrush and you just pull down like that and kind of swipe like that, however you want your ghosts to look. So the other thing is, one other idea you can do is you can print off letters. You can, or if you wanted to trace anything, I'm just going to snip that a little bit more. You can print it off and then put it under your parchment paper and then just trace it. So I'm just going to write Boo. Oops. Those are touching. We'll see how those turn out. And then I'm just going to add some little eyeballs. You could take the green meltables and make like little Frankenstein heads. You could get the black kind, cut out or print off some like little black cats and then trace around them underneath. Be fun. make little monsters. There's really just, the options really are endless, which is why I love this profession. Let's see. Okay, then I'm going to take some of these orange little, these are called nonpareils. I'm just going to drop them on over the boo. When you're making letters, you'll want to make sure that you pipe the letters thick, like a little thicker than maybe you normally would, because just because they're frail when they don't have, when they're not wider. And sometimes like the letters will break. Another thing that we can do here, we'll take some, I'm going to take some orange, I'm going to melt some orange, and then we're just going to make some kind of random decorations.
Hey, Megan, while you're doing that, we have a question regarding the wattage of your microwave. Do you know what your wattage is?
No, I'm so sorry, but I can probably find out. Do you happen to know the wattage of the microwave? No, but we will look into it. If I were more of a handy, it's probably something that's really simple
I also
to find. Oh, you know what? I bet it's on maybe on the inside of the door. Maybe not. We'll look into it. I don't see it on the inside of the door, but we can let you know.
No problem. And we have some questions regarding melting icing in the chat. If say a guest doesn't have the meltables, is it bad to melt regular frosting?
So no, it's not. It just depends on what your end game is. So sometimes, like, I will take my buttercream frosting and I'll just thin it out a little bit. Like, I'll add, if I have cream in it, or if I'm using evaporated milk or regular milk or whatever liquid I am using, I'll just add a little bit more so it's a little thinner, and then I'll pop it in the microwave and use that for my drip. So if that's what you're going for, like if you're going for a drip, then melting it is totally fine. The other thing sometimes that I'll do when it's thinned out and melted is, depending upon how sheer people want like a naked cake, I'll do that same thing. Because if they want it really, really, really sheer, you need to have really thinned out frosting so that they can see the cake poking through. But if you're trying to do something like this that will set up and you'll be able to kind of maneuver and add to the top, then melting the frosting down won't work as well. But you could try on the flip side, adding more like powdered sugar to it so it's really thick. So then you're essentially piping thicker little ghosties. Here, I'll show you with this. So you could, pretend this is your frosting. You've added some more powdered sugar to it just so it stays up and it's a little bit thicker. Here's our little ghost head. We're going to try to get those little dimples. And then you could pop these in the freezer. Oops. And let them set up and get super, super cold. And then at that point, you should totally be able to peel them off of your parchment paper, like no problem. So if I've over answered your question, I apologize. I just was trying to think of solutions that you could use. I don't know. I don't think it would work as well with like letters, but like kind of blobbier shapes, or even, certain flowers and whatnot. We use buttercream all the time. Hopefully that was helpful on some level.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so here's just some more meltables. I just grabbed the orange and I'm just gonna cut the tip again. And I'm just gonna kind of squeeze it out like this. Although I guess we could make little pumpkins, little jack-o'-lanterns. I'm just gonna make essentially like a bark to break up and put on. Spread this out. You can see some of my meltables weren't melted all the way. I got too excited, but that's okay. We will press forward. Okay, so I'm just spreading it out. And I'm going to essentially break this up into little pieces anyway, so it doesn't have to look any certain way. But I'm just going to take some of these sprinkles and add to it. Let's see, let's add a little bit of these guys again. One of the things that's been so fun, and you can actually catch it on AC Food Crafting's feed, is doing like making your own sprinkle mix. So pause for 2 seconds. If you go into Michael's, you'll find in the food crafting section, there's a whole wall full of all the sprinkles and sanding sugars and Quins and Jimmies and crunchy little pearls. And if your Michael's is already sold out of Halloween stuff, you can make your own mix. So just get a bowl, pour some in, add whatever shapes, colors, anything you want to it. And it's so fun. It's what I used to do a lot before having these in Michael's. So as someone who buys all the sprinkles and all the sugars and all the things, this is super convenient to be able to go to Michael's and just get so many options. Okay, so again, this is not perfect. It's kind of messy. I just added some sprinkles to it. We're gonna let it set up, and then we'll add them to the top of the cake. I'm gonna ask Matt to please, I think he's grabbing the other cake. He's gonna pretty please put this in the fridge for just a few minutes. How are we on time? We doing okay? Okay, we'll kind of hustle through some of the next part. So I'm going to show you just how awesome different tips are. I have here, this is another disposable pastry bag, and I have an open star tip. This was a Sweet Tooth Fairy one. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but honestly, sorry, this is a closed star. Any closed star tip will be just fine. And I'm just putting it into this disposable pastry bag. And I kind of do this a little bit of an unconventional way. So if you have a coupler, then you might be watching me going, this girl's crazy. What is she doing? But I will show you. If you don't have the little coupling tools, then this is something that you can do. Just put a tip into a disposable pastry bag and then put your frosting. This we already had in the pastry bag, but you'll put your frosting into a pastry bag and then you can plop it into this bag. So that, let's pretend you had a bunch of different frostings and you only had one tip. What you can do is just then take your bag out and put in your other frosting into the same tip. That makes sense. So let's see, let's find our front again so you guys can see it. There's our front right there. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna squeeze gently. I'll show you on the top first, just right here. With pastry bags and with tips and with piping, so much, the most important thing I would say is just the pressure at which you squeeze the bag. And it's something that you're going to have to kind of figure out on your own, because there's a few different variables, right? Depends on how thick your frosting is, or how thin it is, or how cold it is. But you'll know, you can kind of just practice giving them little squeezes, and you can make sure to not do too much as you squeeze it out or too little. The other thing is, if you were, doing rosettes or just practicing even in general with like getting the feel for your frosting in your bag, do it on some parchment paper, squeeze all you want, write your name, whatever it is. And then all you have to do is just scrape that frosting up off the parchment paper and put it back in your bag. So you're not wasting it. You're just using it to do some practice rounds, right? Okay. So with all this fun Halloween candy and sprinkles, I'm just squeezing, and you can see as I'm adding it, I'm kind of just doing tiny little, like a little jitter back and forth. Nothing technical, nothing super tricky. So I'm just adding a little bit of a pop there. So I'm going to take this little jack-o'-lantern and add him right there. Let's see, we've got some other little jack-o'-lanterns that we can pick out of this cute sprinkle mix. Add some supporting actors right there. Let's see, we can take some jimmies and then kind of just throw them. The amount of times in my head I've invented a sprinkle gun is embarrassing. So someday we will have a sprinkle gun where you can just shoot your sprinkles onto your cake. It's going to be amazing someday, if I can ever convince anyone that it's an actual good idea other than me. But okay, so I just grabbed, let's see, these have these are some cute little bats too. We can add a couple little bats. When Matt gets back, we'll add our little ghosts on top. So this is the part for me that I don't take myself too seriously in life ever, but I get real serious when it comes to putting my sprinkles where I think they ought to go. I like shut out the world and I just focus really hard on my sprinkle placement. So it's fun to just kind of assess what your options are as far as sprinkles and colors and whatnot, and then just decide, okay, this is definitely the spot that I'm going to put those sprinkles. Let's see. Okay, bear with me for 1 sec. I have to look at it from my angle so I can make the right choice. Okay, so we added a little pumpkin up there. Matt, so kind, brought back our setup meltables. And we're gonna give this a go. So messy. It's fine. Okay, so our Boo did great. It withstood the test of the fridge. Let me see. Okay, that's gonna work. Now I'm gonna take some of these little ghosties. I'm actually, first what I'm doing, you can see, I'm getting real into it. I'm gonna just add a little bit of frosting back here behind these letters just to add some support so that they kind of have something to lean on. And now we're going to take some of our ghost friends. We're going to add them. Let's see. And take some of our paintbrush ones. I gotta look, gotta pull it away from your view. Sorry. Let's see, I'll do this. Just gonna add some more fluff and some more sprinkles. Let's grab these guys. Let's see. Okay, remember this here little friend? I'm just breaking it up into pieces. I'm gonna jam them. So, as you can see, I know I keep saying this, but there's nothing like super like technical as far as these techniques, right? I promise that you can do them and you can do them well. And give yourself some grace if you try and you get frustrated. I promise it'll come with just playing in the kitchen, playing with your frosting and your cakes, and just kind of let yourself get as creative and as crazy as you want with all the things. So I think our little boo cake is the cutest. That's so fun.
It is so cute, Megan, and there's just an outpour of positive feedback about this.
Oh, yay.
People are saying that you're amazing. This was so helpful.
That's so nice.
And the ideas are flowing with what people can do with their Halloween.
Oh, good. I love it. That's the whole point. That is the whole point. So thank you so much. That means so much. So are there any questions? I know we just have like a few minutes. Does anyone have anything? See, I'm like talking, but I'm like, I need to add more. It's a problem, but it's fine.
There was a question regarding, have you used whipped cream before in your cake decorations? Or what do you think?
So while I believe it is the most delicious, it's not the best for decorating. And it has such a limited shelf life, if you will, meaning you've got to keep it refrigerated like pretty much up until the time that you're going to serve it, right? So it's my favorite to eat. It's not my favorite to decorate with. So yeah, I'm sorry if that hurts your heart a little bit because I get it. I wish we could decorate with whipped cream. It's so soft and it is so temperature sensitive.
Yeah, no, I think that's very helpful for the audience.
Yeah. Well, good.
But once again, there's an outpour of everyone thinking this is so adorable because it is. And
well, good. Yay.
Thank you for this class.
So
thank
glad.
you.
Okay, yeah, thank you guys so much. Please stay tuned throughout the coming months because I'm back here at least a couple times a month doing these fun classes. So thank you again. Have a happy and safe Halloween, and we'll see you next time.